Oh, hey, there we go.
Welcome to our first episode of Conversation with Chris. I got my first guest, the infamous Sneaky G. But let me
It's an honor.
introduce Sneaky to you, okay? Sneaky was born January 9th, 1979 in Germany. You know, a lot of us didn't know that. He is a smooth, sexy 45 years old. He's also an Army vet serving in our military for 5 years, ended up as an E4. He's a family man with the father of three wonderful children, Sienna,
Yes,
and
Sienna.
the great and powerful Nick. He's also a Masonic brother, uh, hailing from the Brightington Lodge 78, and currently living in the great state of Texas in Louisville, and the host of the Make It Count podcast. He is the great, the powerful, Sneaky G Man.
Hey, you know what? I couldn't have done it any better, Chris. I couldn't have done
What's up, Sneak? What's up, man?
what's going on? And to be fair, I'm kind of in where I live at, it's kind of confusing. It's like the Louisville, Capel, Flower Mound area. So I just say Dallas. I mean, because everybody knows where Dallas is at. So I just say Dallas. But I appreciate the first off, thank you so much for congratulations on this new show that you're doing. Getting to know content creators. I think it's an awesome idea. Wish I would have thought of it. Damn. No, let me stop. And thank you for, I mean, wow, to bestow the honor of being the first guest.
Well,
I appreciate
that. We needed a lightning rod up front. The first person to be on the conversation request, it had to be Sneaky G. Okay. As you always say, you're the number one hater of Cowboys.
Yes.
You actually use the word loathe.
Yes. Yes. That's the only word that's the only word that I could think of that's stronger than hate. You can hate something so much that there has to be a better word. And yeah, I went with loathe. Shout out to the Grinch. Shout out to the Grinch.
I was like, loathe. I remember when we first met and we were having conversations and I used to say, yeah, man, you that undercover Cowboy fan. You know you're a Cowboy, and you said, Chris, you stopped me like you said, Chris, I loathe.
Entirely, yes.
and when you said it, I was just like, not too many people have ever used the word loathe to me. So it gotta be a true and honest hate.
Yes, it is.
If you loathe the Cowboys. And apologies to the folks that's watching. I am seriously having major computer problems. I mean, as soon as the show get ready to start, my laptop decided, hey.
Yes, and I'm a witness to that. Literally minutes before.
It's just like, minutes before me and Sneaky having a conversation and everything. And then everything just shut down. But hey, that's how it is. When you always got that pilot episode, there's always going to be those kinks and everything that you need to get worked out. So we gonna do that. But Sneaky, let's get to know you, baby.
All right, I'm down. Let's do this. That's exciting.
When I shot you a text and I asked you a few questions because this is some things I wanted to get into. It says your birthplace was in Germany, brother. Yes. What city in Germany were you born
in? Frankfurt, Germany. Frankfurt, Stuttgart. So my dad was in the military, and my mom she was from Athens. She wasn't German. She was Greek, and that's why I got the good hair. I know some of y'all don't know this because I wear a hat 24/7. And yeah, they met up in somewhere around either Frankfurt or Stuttgart, but I was pretty much born on a military installation in Germany.
You
Um,
know, my wife grew up in Stuttgart.
oh,
Her
in
dad,
Stuttgart?
her dad was in the military also.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she she mentions Germany fondly. That's one of her places that she just wants to return to is Germany. Uh, and I was like, I would love to go. I got a buddy that I graduated high school with lives in Germany. So how long were you in Germany? Were you just born in Germany or you
Yeah,
came back to America?
far as I know, we actually my dad was stationed in Fort Huachuca in Service, Arizona. I want to say in 1980.
Hmm.
Um, and we PCSed over in Arizona, where I pretty much stayed there. Geez, I lived in Arizona, I think a total of like 30 years of my life. Sierra Vista, Arizona, 520 in the house.
Wow, wow. Okay. Question like can we talk about the parents? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they meet in Germany or did they meet in
Yes.
America?
Yes, they did. They met. They met in Germany. Um, if I'm not mistaken, my dad said I was the oops. Uh, and I'm like, okay, well,
Is that a good thing being a oops? Is that a good
you
thing?
know what? Hey, it worked out for me. Here I am talking to you. Like, hey, I won the first competition in life. I was a damn good swimmer. I guess starting out, I was a winner starting out. So, and so my mom was a lot older. My mom was 10 years older than my dad,
Okay.
and there was my brother. We have the same father but different mother. There was like a 12-year difference between myself and my older brother, and it's just it was just us two. And I didn't even, the funny thing is, there's a lot of those memes that come out, not memes, but like you hear these TikTok stories where you grow up and there's like secrets that uh you didn't know about your family until later on in life. And I didn't realize up until my junior year of high school that my brother was my half brother,
Uh-huh.
where we have, the same mom and a different dad. I didn't know my mom had two baby daddies. I didn't know that. I didn't know that till I was a junior. And it was funny though, because my brother would have his, like, you would see these certificates, like student of the month or whatever,
Hmm.
and it had a different last name. Uh, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And
Uh-huh.
then mom was like, well, that's your brother. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I never thought anything of it. I just, went to the wayside. And lo and behold, my mom was talking to one of her friends, and I just happened to be in the living room. I'm like, what? He's my half brother. So yeah, it's like one of those moments where you didn't know you were adopted until you were 18.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I wasn't adopted, but I think that's a good thing. But the fact that I didn't realize, my mom had two baby daddies, until when I was a junior. I was like, oh, okay.
Bro, we got so much in common in that area. Because something similar to me, it happened to me also. Growing up, my mom, I just had sisters, sisters, and I knew my
Hmm.
dad had been married before and everything like that. And it was one day, uh, mom comes around and say, "Hey, you got a bunch of brothers."
Oh shoot, you didn't even know, right?
It didn't even know, man. I played football against my
How old were you? How old are you when you
I
found out?
was I was I was 19.
Oh my, yeah, you were older than me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it happens in that in our family trees on in if you were born with our complexion, sometimes things like that happen in the family. You
Yeah,
just, you
yeah.
know, they don't tell kids until they become adults, about things like that, man. But a lot of people didn't know that you were half Greek.
Yep, my mother's from Athens, Greece.
Hmm.
I still have family out there, Sagapo Patapuli, and I do speak a little bit of Greek. Don't think I'm Wikipedia or Rosetta Stone or whatnot. But yeah, we're still out there. Growing up, it it was kind of funny because a lot of people think I'm Hispanic or
Hmm.
Samoan or well, I mean Puerto Rican. That's still somewhat Hispanic. And I'm like, no, I'm half Greek. And then one time when I worked at Peter Piper Pizza, shout out Peter Piper, in Sierra Vista, my mom would come and she would drop off like a quiche because I would work Sunday mornings, and a young lady there, she she was like, Steve, I didn't know. People call me Steve, stuff, whatever.
Hmm.
I was like, I didn't know you were half Hispanic. I'm like, oh no, my mom's Greek because my mom would look somewhat Hispanic,
Uh-huh.
and it was always interesting. And then because my parents was interracial, and growing up, uh, I would get I don't want to say like clowned on, but I would not only date black women. I date everybody.
Right.
I didn't discriminate when it came. Well, let me redefine that. Not everybody, but any ethnic group. I treated women like it was like Skittles. I tasted the rainbow, and I mean, you get those questions in our community, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's hard for me to find a black Greek young lady, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go out and do my thing and see what happens.
Man, because I know one time we were having conversations, and then we were talking about black fathers and everything like that,
Yeah.
and being in our children's lives and stuff like that. And I think my wife overheard, us talking about that, and she said, "Sneaky's black."
Yes. 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 Far as I know, at least waist down. No, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me
Oh,
stop.
oh,
Let me
and,
stop.
and I was like,
Let me stop.
you didn't know that? She say, honey, she thought you were Hispanic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get that a
Okay.
lot.
And
Get a lot.
because she also knew you were raised in Arizona, and
Right.
just
Right.
automatically assuming, uh,
Well, when I was in the military and I told people where I was from, because of the whole Martin Luther King back in the day, where they voted that not to be a federal holiday,
mhm,
which ended up causing them to lose a couple sporting events like the NCAA tournament. And this was before Super Bowl 30. We're not going to talk about who played in it, but it was before Super Bowl 30. Then the following year they voted back in as a federal holiday so they could get those special activities.
right.
Yeah, I would. There's black people there. I'm like, yeah, I know at least three. Me, my brother, my dad. At least three. At
At
least
least
three.
three of y'all live
At
in
least
Arizona.
minimum.
So, oh, I forget. The name of the city in Arizona again, you were raised in?
Sierra Vista.
Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Mhm.
A lot of people don't know that Steph actually played quarterback
I
in high
did.
school.
I
Uh,
did. Yes.
your quarterback career, man. Did you always want to be, that leader of men at that position? Did it was something was quarterback forced on you, or it was just something that you wanted to do?
It was something that I've always wanted to do. Um, and I want to say that I hope someday Phil Sims will hear this. And I'll say because of Phil Sims is the reason why I wanted to play the position. And if I were to ever meet him in real life, I would love just to play catch with him.
Mhm.
Grown man, and a grown man saying he wants to play catch, with another grown man. Yes, yes. I would love to toss the ball with him and then just to hear some of his stories because what I remember every time he threw the ball, it was always a perfect spiral. And growing up, I didn't have the NFL ticket. There was no such thing as NFL ticket. Um, Only time I really got to see the Giants play living in Arizona was either Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. Those are the only two times. Other than that, I would have to see him on NFL Blitz with Chris Berman and with Tommy Jackson. I think Tom Jackson.
Tommy.
And I would mimic Phil Simms. I mean, I studied his 3-step drop, his 5-step drop, his 7-step drop, and we didn't have YouTube back in the day. In the late, or mid to late 90s, early and mid 90s up to 2000. So anytime that I would see him play, not only was I watching the game, but I would like study it. And I still remember the first person I talked to because I was always a big guy, always a big guy. When I started playing football in 7th grade, they put me on the line. They put me on the offensive line. I was actually a right guard in middle school. We went undefeated. I'll never forget it. We went undefeated. The next year, I wanted to play quarterback, and the coach said, "No, we're putting you on the line." One day he saw me throwing the football, and I kid you not, he's like, "We're going to put you at fullback." So I, ran the ball a couple times in 8th grade, and they put me in when they did like that halfback pass, I had fun time doing that. And then of course my freshman year in high school, I told coach straight up, I said, I don't want to play offensive line. I want to play quarterback.
Mhm.
And man, I still remember throwing my first touchdown pass in high school. Of course it was freshman.
Right.
But man, I could still remember how that went down today. I could still remember the feeling and like the smells and the crowd. Oh, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah, dude. I feel you there. I remember my first varsity game like it was yesterday. Because you work so hard to be in the start lineup, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, you're like, hey man, I finally made the big stage, So I know that feeling, man. I can imagine how you felt when you threw that touchdown, man. So how long did you frame the ball down? I'm sure you framed it, put it in goal because you are a collector of things, rings, and so did you bronze it and put it in your bedroom?
I wish. No, I have no idea where that ball's at. I have no idea. Man. Yeah, after that touchdown, I even threw the 2-point conversion. Man, I had a good time in high school.
Yeah. And so what was the name of your high school?
Colts. Buena Colts.
The winner Colts?
Buena.
Okay.
Buena Colts. Go Fight Win.
Right. Yeah. And the year you graduate, what year was it?
97.
97. Yeah. So we're exactly 10 years apart. Honestly, exactly. Because I graduated in 87. You graduated in 97.
Yeah.
You were born in 79. I was born in 69. So exactly.
Okay.
Exactly 10 years apart. So, all right, brother. Hey, but the Arizona life, growing up in Arizona, man, I'm a Texas boy, currently in Colorado, man. How was it growing up in Arizona?
It was boring as hell. It was Sierra Vista was so we didn't have a mall.
Mm-hmm.
The place to hang out that I can remember was it was a pool hall called Rackham.
Mm-hmm.
And at my age, especially I think the last 2 years, my junior and senior year, you would go to Texas Annie's and JR's, and it was only like on teen night. And at one point in time, they would have it like once a month, and where a lot of high schoolers, well, I mean, teen night, anybody under 18, you can, you can. I don't even think 19-year-olds could go. I think even I don't even remember if 19-year-olds could go, but I know for a fact someone told me they were 20 years old, and when I worked at Peter Piper, and they said this year sucks, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, dude, I'm 20. I'm too old for the teen nights, and I'm too young for the bars. So I got to wait till I'm 21, and this is in Cerro Vista,
right?
So, because I left when I was actually right after high school. That's when I left, and when I joined the service. So overall, I mean, it was fun. We would find things to do, like parties or whatever, and other than, I mean, you made the most of it.
Right.
Living in a small town, Tucson was like 45 minutes, an hour away. Phoenix was like 2, maybe 3 hours away, and yeah, it was boring. I'll be honest.
So, Cerro Vista, was your dad from Cerro Vista, or you guys just ended up there?
No, my dad, he actually was stationed in Fort Huachuca. Fort Huachuca is the military base. Cerro Vista is the town, and it's a military town.
Right.
So, and we just happened to stay there. I mean, I graduated, like I said, 97. So, yeah, I went elementary. I was in Bella Vista, Cerro Vista Middle School, and then Buena High School. And I was too wild. They have a community college in town, Cochise, and they even have like a satellite university, U of A. But no, I had to go. I had to go when it was
time. You had to go. So after high school, is that when you went straight into the military?
Yeah, I actually took the ASFAB. I took the ASFAB my senior year, the in 97. I think it was like either March. It was before I graduated. I took the ASFAB. Well, I'll tell you this, Chris, before I even had the diploma in hand, I already had my job, my AIT. I knew I was leaving. And
you were trying to get out of there as fast as
quick. Well, but I did take my time because although the recruiters, they want you to leave the day after high school because they don't want you to get in any trouble. They don't want you to, you don't know what happens in a couple months. But no, I said, no, I'm not leaving before the summer's out. I said, I'm going to take my summer. And then I left in September. I left that next actually school year.
Right.
When I joined the service, and I went to Fort Jackson. Everybody, my father said, "Oh, you're going to Camp Snoopy? Oh, it's easy."
Right.
Well, maybe. But I had a blast when I was in basic. If you're gonna enlist, and that's what I did. You gotta have the mindset of I'm gonna have fun no matter what.
Right.
Just so people that don't understand the process of joining the Army or the military, that fact, and I can only talk of my experience when I joined the Army. So first off, let me back up. I went to every branch, Marines, Navy, Army, and Air Force. The Air Force recruiter, one, he was barely ever there. Two, he already made his quota for the month. So when he saw me, it was like he was making excuses for me not to join the Air Force. He was like, "What's your ASFAB score?" I told my ASFAB score, which qualified for all 4 branches. He said, "Okay, well, do you do any drugs?" "No." "Okay, do you drink?" I'm like, "Nope, don't drink." I was a square. I was a I was the kid that was I was the oldest one of the bunch. And those that don't know, back in the day, if something went down and you're the oldest one, you're the one that's getting yelled at.
Right.
So of course, I made sure, whatever people were doing, they were doing, but we got home safe and nobody got caught. All right, I'll just leave it at that. So that being said, I was a square. I didn't get in trouble, or like I said, didn't get caught. And I was on my P's and Q's. But then he asked me, did you play any sports? Yeah, I played. And before I could say football, I need a medical waiver. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. And this is the Air Force recruiter. And it turned out they were having a pizza party. And he was trying to hurry him get to his pizza party. And when I spoke to, I don't even remember what the Navy guy said. All I know is that when I went and saw the Navy recruiter, he had a whole can of Copenhagen. And it was like, it took up like the bottom of his lip and like half his jaw. And you couldn't even see his teeth. It was just like, and so how long, what were we talking about? Which one do, it was just, and I couldn't even hear what he was saying. I'm just like, if he sneezes one time, it's going to go all over here.
Right.
Marine, man, I walked in that Marine and I said, do you guys give bonuses? Yeah, it's being a Marine. Have a good day, sir. I walked out. So then I went to the Army. I knew deep down I just knew the Army was like the right fit for me.
Right.
If it wasn't, because I did want to go Air Force, but if it wasn't Air Force, I was going to go Army. And so I had an awesome recruiter, very down to earth. He was a tanker, and he was like, and we were cool. I don't know if he did this with other recruits, but he basically told me, he's like, look, you're gonna go to MEPS. You're not gonna like it. You're probably gonna cuss me out. Just bend over and cough. And that's what happened. You get a full medical examination.
Right.
And I remember, because they line you up. I don't know how they do it now, but they line you up and they do, when they do the final, look down, like the lieutenant was coming up and he was like, he looked at me, he's like, how you doing? I was like, well, shit, I'm getting prod all day. And then when he finally got to me, he was like, at least you only got to do it once. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because they got to do it 100 and something times. I just got to go through the process once. So, and then you get sworn in, but then, and then you get to pick your job. Then you get sent home. Okay. Now, 9 times out of 10, and I found out after the fact, you normally get on a plane and go to basic.
Right.
9 times out of 10. But for me, it was just getting my job and I was going home because I was not leaving right after high school. And it was actually, I take it back, for me, it was March. So I was still in school. I still had to graduate. And of course, which I did. And yeah, that last summer, it was like I really appreciated because I knew I was going to be different. Because the whole military mind frame and whatnot. I had a girlfriend at the time, and when I left, I kind of left it up to God. I'm like, well, if it's meant to be, it'll be. That was like my mindset. That was like, and then of course, when I got to basic, you go to reception because you got to get your BDUs, you got to get your gear, all that stuff, right? Back then they called it BDUs. And then you go to basic, and then that's where the fun starts. So I was in reception for about a week, which doesn't count towards anything because you're just there getting ready, getting prepped. Right. And then you're waiting on that next class. And if you got any questions to ask me, please feel free.
I had some. So I know a lot of people don't know how patriotic you are, because I've seen the patriotic part of you. Okay. And you know, I it's just my opinion. I think it's because you spent that time in the military that gives you that patriotic persona. Especially we've both been at sporting events together, and when that national anthem comes on, you are a different person.
Yeah.
Me and Sneaky was at a function, and they were playing the national anthem, and I think you screamed out the part at stars
Our flag was still there.
still there, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it kind of startled me at first, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, Sneaky was in the military. He takes pride in that national anthem and that flag. What is it because of the military service, or are you just that American that just that song means more to you than most?
Well, of course, when you're in a third world country on a special day called Independence Day,
Yeah,
okay, when you're in a third world country on July 4th, where there's no fireworks, basically no celebration, but you're in a formation with your combat arms brothers and sisters, and you see that flag up there, you realize that you're a part of something bigger than you.
right.
And I think for me, and this is just my 2 cents, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I'm an American. And I think people, especially now that this is an election year, I think people have lost sight of that.
Uh-huh.
You're a patriot when you love your country, not for one man.
Right.
And in my opinion, I could care less who the president is, as long as they follow the Constitution.
Okay.
And I'm not a fan of some. Actually, I'm not a fan of any of them, really, to be honest. Now that I think about it, but in hindsight, I will say some are better than others, in
Right.
my opinion. And it is true when people say you vote for the lesser of the two evils.
Right.
I just don't. For me, I just don't like the fact that, and people can take this how they want. You don't put all your eggs in one basket for one person, and and then for someone to say, I'm trying to be very vague because I just don't like how nowadays it's almost like a cult following
Right.
with certain individuals, and nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the Constitution. That's why we got our independence. Now, granted, all right, and I'm going to say this, granted, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, we weren't considered full American. We weren't even considered a full person.
Right.
And I get that a lot. How can you defend something that didn't, believe in you? Well, my grandfather fought in World War II. My dad was in the military for 22 years. He tells me he volunteered for Vietnam. I don't know how true or false that is, but I'm going to say he volunteered. God rest his soul. But he did get E7, Sergeant First Class. And of course, I served for 5 years. So I do love this country. And I'm not even going to throw the whole Kaepernick thing. Like when Kaepernick kneeled and people didn't like it.
I was going to ask you about that.
And to be fair, when people asked about how I felt about how the Kaepernick thing, right, with him kneeling, I gave them an answer that nobody appreciated, or they kind of just shrugged it off. And the reality is, it doesn't matter what I think or what I feel. It's his First Amendment right, freedom of speech. And the fact that he can do that, and the fact that he can kneel, and the fact that you can have the Ku Klux Klan march down First Avenue, right, on a protest, which they're allotted to do that because they claim that that's the freedom of their religion, then yeah, Kaepernick can kneel. And regardless of how I feel about either, it's their right. And I'll even do a little segue in this whole situation with banning TikTok. I think it's absurd because it's an infringement on my First Amendment right.
Okay.
I think it's a government overreach, my 2 cents. And I think that I don't believe in the overreach that they're doing right now with TikTok. And they're using China, in my opinion, as an excuse. But look, I don't know if you have a Mac. I have a Mac. I have every Apple product almost that people think of. Where do the parts come from?
It's China.
But we're going to ban TikTok. But I have my iPhone with me when I go to work. Okay, I have my iPhone with me everywhere I go.
Right.
But we're going to ban TikTok.
Yeah.
So, but getting back to the patriotic thing, I have always been in the middle, and I've raised my kids same way, because I want them to find their own way. But I will tell you this: in the military, I had a great time. I've met some great people, and I've lost some great people. And sadly now, and I'm gonna get a little emotional. I've lost more friends, when they got out of the war than they were in. And when the whole talk of this wall that people talk about, I'm like, okay, so we're not going to take that money for a wall that's not going to change anything. How about we put it towards the vets?
Yeah.
And that's another thing, a big advocate that I am. I am all in when it comes to our veterans.
Yes.
All in.
Yeah, I know that about you, man. That's why I said, man, you're a great patriot, man. Because when you care about your brother in arms, more than you care about yourself, I consider you a patriot. Because it's also like the brotherhood we're in, being Masonic men.
Yes.
We swear we swear an oath to be there for our brothers, and it takes special people, man, to actually live up to that oath. It's one time, man, I was in Tyler, Texas. Me and my wife was in Tyler, and we were looking at this timeshare, the old timeshare scam to get you to, to get you a trip and all this. But we were in Tyler, Texas, okay? And we got lost, couldn't find the highway and everything. And on the back of the front of my car, I always had a light, always had a light. So
if you don't know what a light is, people, that's the square and compass.
Yes.
A Masonic emblem, if you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was lost and pulled over to ask the gentleman. And, of course, he said, "Hey, brother, nice light." I instantly knew he was a brother.
Yeah.
And the man helped me, actually drove me to the highway. And my wife was like, "Man, that was nice of him." I said, "Babe," "Yes, it was nice. It was sweet of him." But I said, "But he pledged the oath to always be your brother's keeper."
Yeah.
I would have did the same thing if I saw him and greeted him, and I would have did the same exact thing. And I said, it's a brotherhood. I said, so we were just, a brother showing kindness to another brother. So, and when we met, and I was like, my man he's a Mason. All right, we gonna get along here regardless. It don't matter if we cheer for two different teams. We're still in a fraternity together.
Yep.
You know, it's the same thing with people being an Alpha or a Q or a Kappa. It's a fraternity, and we're not worshiping the devil. We're not
or building UFOs.
We're building UFOs.
I'll never forget, a guy walked up to me, saw my ring, and I don't have it on right now. He was like, "Oh, you're a Mason? Oh yeah, I sure am. I hear you guys are building UFOs." I'm like, this is not what he was like. No, I mean, he was serious. Like, no, are you? No, we're not. We're not at all. I mean, I had a good old laugh at that. I thought he was joking. I honestly thought he was joking.
Right. No, he was.
And then someone, I'll never forget this. I told someone that I was a Mason. Yeah, they legitimately thought that I worship the devil.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah,
I'm like, you have no idea what. And you know what? And I just blame the misinformation that's put out there.
Right.
And it's fear. It makes no sense. I don't understand why churches get involved. And I was actually talking to another brother about this. Like, I don't understand why, churches are so against it, because it's basically, I mean, it's similar. There's a lot of similarities. No, it's not a religion. Going to lodge is not going to church. But you are doing, and you are a part of something bigger than yourself. But the way the brother explained to me was, well, you got to think of this. It's resources that are not going directly to a church. It's going to something else.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, but you got your tithing. And I was like, no. I know. I get what you're saying. But he kind of educated me. He said, it's because you're taking resources, your own resources, to something else.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own 2 cents, but I can honestly tell you, no, it's not a religion. It's not a cult. You can always leave. And again, with that, I met a lot of good, and I didn't even become a Mason until 2007.
Okay.
And just to let everybody know, I'm a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason. But what does that mean? Absolutely nothing. I still get up and go to work tomorrow morning. And this whole Illuminati thing, I haven't got an. Oh, actually, I'm lying. I did get an invite, but they wanted $750 for that invite. And I'm like, yeah, brother, I'm good.
That's awesome. Hey,
yeah.
Man, let's talk about the family life, man. I know you are married to the great Angie, Mama Boss.
Mama Boss, yes.
You have 3 wonderful children, brother.
Yes.
3. I met them. I've been in your home for Friendsgiving and everything.
Yeah,
man. I had a wonderful time, brother. Where did you and Mama Boss meet?
I was actually in the military.
Mm-hmm.
I had a white van with no windows. I pulled up by her middle school. She was at recess.
Wait. You had a white van with no windows.
I said, from here on out, when she walked in the van, I said, from here on out, your name is Angela. No, let me stop. She'll be mad at me if she sees this. She will be. I worked at I had a second job, and I worked at an arcade place. And here this young lady come walking in, introduced myself, and I don't know. I was like, oh, and the funny thing is, I wasn't even supposed to work that day. Because I called in. I had got this new awesome stereo system in my car, and I wanted to drive around Savannah, Georgia. That was my first duty station. I want to go down River Street, bump it, and all that. And my boss at the time said, no, I need you to come in, because the person I was working with, she was like 18 months pregnant, and she was about to bust. And So I had to be there just in case. I'm fine, I'll go. And I'm glad I did. I didn't realize because of that decision, it changed my life completely. So
So is Mama Boss from Georgia?
Savannah, Georgia.
She's from Georgia. I didn't know she was from Georgia.
She is from the South. Yep. I love Georgia so much. I had to take a peach with me. And then I made a peach. So
the military did a bunch of things for you. It gave you the ability to meet your wife and have 3 wonderful children. Now,
no, I only had the one. I only had Sierra while I was in.
Oh, you only had Sierra. Okay.
So I will tell you this: in 1999, I met Mama Boss in mid-January. It was before Martin Luther King Day.
Okay.
March, I proposed.
Wow.
And then April, we found out we were going to have Sierra. Then she said yes. And then you said I did there. I proposed. I kind of, and then she said, "No, I'm kidding." Yeah. No, she said yes when I proposed. And then she was still in high school. She graduated high school that year, and then in June we got married, and then in November we had Sierra. So 1999 is a big year for the both of us.
Right.
And it, 25 years later, it's still going.
Bro, we got so much in common. Me and my wife got married in 99. We got married in October of 99.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
okay.
This will be our 25th also.
Yeah.
That's wild, man.
But did you guys date before?
We did date before. She hates the story of where we met, so I'll tell at another date.
Okay.
But we dated, broke up. She got married. She got divorced. She came home. We've been together ever since.
Yeah.
It was like,
that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
I'm not letting you go twice. That's basically what happened with us. And we got married in 99 also. So Sierra is your oldest.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sienna is the
Sienna.
Okay. And the great and powerful Nick.
Yes.
The future Cowboy Center.
Yeah.
So let's go in reverse.
Almost threw up right there, Chris. Don't do that. I almost like
I tease you all the time. Nick is a big boy. Okay. I instantly fell in love with him when I saw him, man. Because we had the same demeanor when I was in high school, just quiet kid, big kid, and just love sports. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he just reminded me of me, Now, the quietness don't mean he doesn't know what the hell's going on. It's just that's just his demeanor, Yeah. But I wanted to start in reverse order, man. Nick, I know, man. I've seen plenty posts on TikToks. I've seen your Facebook page. He's your ace. He's my
guy. Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah.
NFL drafts with you and everything, and you guys make a lot of sports memory, man. Is this on purpose, man? Is it because I know I do things on purpose, especially with my grandkids and stuff like that? Uh-huh. Is it just making a memory that he could tell his family about how his dad treated him?
Yes, it's a combination of both. Because keep in mind, growing up, I lived in Sierra Vista. Mm-hmm. And the closest NFL team was 3 hours away, and that was the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
And my dad never took me to any. We never went to any sporting events. Mm-hmm. And I don't know for what reason. I remember in high school, I won 2 tickets to a U of A game, a college U of A game. And I told him about it, and the game was like a month later. Right. Mm-hmm. Every week. Hey, I got these tickets for U of A. Got these tickets. And, the week of, my dad was unique. I love him to death. It could have always, I tell you what, he was a great father. You know,
Right.
he did what he had to do to. I never went hungry. I always had clothes on my back. You know, I always had shoes, whatever, roof over my head. But outside of that, yeah, good luck with that. My dad was the type of person that I legitimately had to be pristine that whole week
Mhm.
for us to go.
Right.
And if you would have told me no, but in a sense, it's one of those things. I knew we weren't going to go, so when it didn't happen, I wasn't as upset because I knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But one morning, he had a rule that I had to make my bed before I go to the bathroom. Right before, that's the first thing you do in the morning. You go to the bathroom, you come back, you make your bed, and then my bed had to be made before I left to go to school. Period. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but he made up some BS because I didn't make my bed before I went to the bathroom. We're not going.
Wow.
And I said to him, I said, Dad, let's be honest. We weren't going anyway. And he was like, well, you never know. I'm like, no, I know.
You already knew.
I already knew. So I think it, for me, I'll if I have the means, I'm going to go to a sporting event. And
Mhm.
yes, I want Nick to have those memories. And to me, it just doesn't feel right. If I'm going to be somewhere that's entertaining and, he's a Giants fan. He was born a Giants fan. And if I'm going to experience something that's phenomenal and involves the Giants, why not?
Mhm.
And yeah, so uh, basically every sporting event, he's came with me. Draft, my first time going to MetLife was his first time going to MetLife.
Okay.
The only thing he didn't go was my first time ever seeing the Giants play, and that's when I was in Seattle. 2000 was it 2000? I think it was 2010. I think it was 2010 was the first time I saw my guys play live ever.
Okay.
And this is when I was a fan and since '86, But he was only 3 at the time. So that's the only reason why I didn't bring him.
Right. Right.
But he was with me the next time when Beckham was on the team in 2013 or 2014, one of those years. Yeah. Yeah, he was with me.
Wow. So Miss Sienna, that's her name, Miss Sienna.
Uh-huh.
I still think about these damn cookies that she made.
Right. Right. Well,
And
let me tell you, you talk about the cookies. I'm surprised you haven't brought up Mama Boss's potato salad.
well, we were getting to that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I was
First
just
order. We're talking about Sienna now.
yes, her cookies. Her cookies, yes.
I just wanted to give her a compliment, man. I mean, she has a skill that most people don't have, man. And then the kindness in her heart, man. I just seeing in her. I said one day it's going to be a lucky guy that gets her. He may have to fight through her dad.
And her brother. And her
brother. and he may. And he's probably gonna be from New Jersey or New York because he better be a Giants fan. I'm thinking. I said, okay, now Sneaky got two girls, and they're gonna get married one day.
Hopefully.
Sienna comes home with a cowboy on her arm, meaning a player. What is Steph gonna do about this?
That's a question that I have to experience because if it's a player,
Uh-huh.
I would actually tell her you could do better. You could do better, baby. I mean, I know he got millions of dollars. I know he got more commas in his bank account than me. I think you could do better. I really do. I think you could do better.
Oh my God. Now, what does Sienna do right now? Is she in school? Is she
Yes,
working?
she is. Actually she's a MA, a medical assistant,
Mhm.
um, at a pediatric. There's like they have multiple offices here, and Sienna is a blessing. All my kids are blessings, but
Right.
um, Sienna is she's going through a nursing program. She's dedicated to that. So much so it's annoying at times.
Mhm.
But seeing that she has that passion to be a nurse and what she's accomplished so far. So when we got here, because we lived in Denver for a little bit, and we moved here. I want to say her sophomore year, because we got here October of 2018, and she graduated 2021. She was one of those COVID classes that
Yeah.
it sucked for her. But she'd been wanting to be a nurse since like forever. I don't even know how that came into play, but she held on to that. I want to say even before she was, in double digits in age, she
Right.
always wanted to be a nurse. So the first step she took when we got here, she got accepted in a program her junior and senior year. That when she graduated, she was already a certified medical assistant,
Okay.
and she busted her ass to pass that test, that certification test.
Right. Right.
And good for her. I couldn't be more prouder than her. But I did tell Mama Boss, I'm like, if she's not successful, we're moving out. We're, we're leaving her here. And but no, she's been great. She got her, it's almost like an associate's, but it's like a health certificate through
Mhm.
AMU, and now she's going to WSG or WGU to finish out her stuff. So
She does have that caring spirit, like a caregiver and a
oh
nurse.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that her doing that. She has that comforting vibe about her.
Mhm.
And when you're in that field, that's great. That you have that kind of vibe. So man,
And
much.
with her, she'll come up to me and she'll say, "You haven't hugged me in a while." I'm like, "Oh shit, let me get over here." I mean, I'm really, yeah, I'm really glad that Sienna's part of my life.
Right. So
And with
Sierra,
and
you
and with
had
Sierra,
a very
Sierra,
young age. You were young when you had her.
I was a young buck.
So so
Um,
so you guys may have been growing up together. So tell
Pretty
us a little bit
much.
about Sierra.
Yeah. Well, Sierra, she's I'm really proud of her too. She got her bachelor's. Actually, let me tell you this with Sierra. She lettered academically 4 years in a row,
Mhm.
two different schools. Because we left Brighton, and I'm sorry, no, we left Seattle because that's when we lived in Seattle. And then we went to Colorado, and she like I said, academics 4 years in a row, two different schools, and whatever cum laude, whatever,
Uh-huh.
dean's list, whatever you want to say. She got her bachelor's in psychology. She says she wants to diagnose me, um, but she's gonna wait till after she gets her master's, which I think she should have that this year. And I'm so
Man,
proud of
that's a
her
blessing. That's a blessing.
because I mean, her hard work, her dedication, and just what she's accomplished so far it's freaking amazing.
Right, right.
So,
So
and
so
then you
so
just got Nick going to every sporting event, that I pay for. No, so with Nick, I'll tell you what. No, I'm really proud of Nick too because he's dedicated. He made varsity. And playing Texas football, it's a whole different world out here.
yes.
Um, and he really dedicated himself to his craft. He's a offensive lineman, offensive guard, and part-time center. Actually, he could do anything on the line. He'll tell you no, but he could do anything on the line. And with him, again, being a junior, just dedicating himself. Last year in summer, they have this thing, JC, they call it, during the summer. And I mean, he rarely missed a day. And those summer months are not easy here in Texas.
Oh no.
And he's still there. He's still doing it. He's kind of up in the air what he wants to do, if he wants to play college ball or not. He doesn't know this, but I am, he is going to be doing some camps this year just to get seen.
Right.
And if, the chips fall where they may, if he gets a scholarship, we'll go from there. If not, we definitely have a plan B in place. But that's another thing my dad didn't do for me. And I know when I talk about my father, it's kind of a negative epithet, but it's not. He did what he had to do, and I really appreciated what he did. Like I said, I never went hungry, roof over my head. But when it came to anything sports related, he wasn't all in like I am. And that's fine. I mean, every parent's different. And I tell you this, I'll never forget it. And I have no problem saying this. And this is what caused me not to start my varsity when I played varsity football. I played a little bit, but I didn't start. And I have no problem saying that. I had the spring game in Arizona. I was killing it. I was killing it. And it was 2 weeks for us. And it was the first week that I was just like, I was focused, throwing the ball good, doing what I need to do. And I had a coach, the head coach and the offensive coordinator, was, hey, we need to talk to you after practice. I'm thinking, oh, okay, whatever. I'm thinking it's good stuff. You're doing good, keep it up, blah, blah, blah. Right. And that's when I realized high school football is political. And I was told by my coach, and I know everybody has a coaching story where they say coach didn't like you or whatever. I mean, I don't take it as that, but this is just my situation and what happened. He asked if, my dad could donate some money to the booster club. And I'm like, Coach, my dad don't even want me playing football.
Right.
And he was like, well, you might want to think about doing another position. The person that, you'll be competing with, they contribute a lot to the team and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'll just do what I can on the field. I mean, I don't want to play another position. Yeah, that didn't end well for me, but it was okay. It was all right. Yeah. It is what it is. And it was my junior year. But you know what? We'll talk about my football career here in a little bit. But anyway, I say all that because, like, for us, Mama Boss and myself, we're heavily involved in Nick and with the Booster Club. If we can donate, we do. Mama Boss and the girls, they help out with the what do you call it? The concession stand.
Right.
They donate their Thursday night. Well, before when Nick was playing, JV, their Friday nights, and then they donate their Thursday nights, So we're there. We're all, and that's the beauty of us. Angie is a complete blessing. She has made married life easy. She legitimately treats me better than I treat myself, and she knows me better than I know myself.
Well, that's what you want in that partner, though. To be, you want that Bonnie and Clyde effect.
Yes. Yeah.
I tell people about my wife. I say, man, no, it's true ride or die.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
when we got together, I had already had two children from a previous relationship, and at one point, my kids was living in one spot, I'm living in another spot, and then me and her were dating. We got engaged, and she said, "Well, we need to go get the kids." And I was like, okay, I didn't want to just spring that on somebody, you
Right. Right.
freshly engaged and everything like that. And she said, if we're together, we're together. We're
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
period. And so I knew right then I had my ride or die for life. And this sounds like Angie has always been that ride or die. Especially when you got a ride or die that can make potato salad like that. No
That's the
raisins.
only reason why I got. That's the only reason why I married her.
Hey, Sneak, no raisins. So
Ain't no raisins. Ain't no raisins in that potato salad whatsoever.
yeah, because
Ain't
you know,
no
I,
no.
as African Americans, the first question you ask, who made the potato salad?
Yeah, and let me tell you what's funny. When we first met, and her dad, I met her, my father-in-law. I say her dad, my father-in-law. He dated black girls.
Mhm.
So, because you got to keep in mind, this is in the South. I'm in Georgia.
Georgia.
Okay.
In Georgia. Yeah.
So, I got to be on my P's and Q's because you don't want to make that wrong left turn, and
Yeah.
But he welcomed me in the home. And Angie had, like I said, he married. He dated and married black women too. So he also had two mixed kids, Tiffy and Chris. Shout out. And so I was over at the house one day, and we were already together, whatever. I want to say it was Easter when she first made potato salad. And Chris, I shit you not, I proposed that next week. It was a wrap. It was a wrap. So I mean, people may say I married her because she was white. No, have you tried her potato salad? I snacked her up as soon as I could.
You have to have the potato salad.
Yes. So I'm gonna tell you. So Chris had a little get together at his house, right? And I asked Mama Boss. I said, please, can you, reluctantly, no, I'm kidding. She made it, and then we even brought cookies too. I remember
that's the first time I had the cookies. Yeah.
So had the potato salad, had the cookie. So we had one of those trays. I know we're getting off course, but I gotta say, there was nothing left.
It's gone.
There was nothing left to take back, to take the tray back. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that I was gonna take the tray, but I always kind of leave it out there because people don't want to eat it. You take it. There was nothing left of that potato salad. It was gone.
It was
gone. Okay.
So question: How long have you guys been married? Well, you told me 25 years.
It'll be 25 years in June.
You met in Georgia. You guys, you were in the Army also.
Yep.
So you were in the Army. So you guys moved around. So the different cities you lived in, brother, other than Arizona. So Seattle, I know of. I know Denver. Of course,
Texas,
Georgia, because that's where you guys met. Any other places?
Yeah, actually, my first duty station after we got married. My first duty station was Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia. We then went to Dexheim, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I was stationed there for a couple years, and I think this will be a perfect segue to kind of talk about my football career too, because that's where it kind of took a little turn. So I was stationed, like I said, in Germany before during 9/11. I was actually in Germany when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I played on a team called the WK Panthers.
Okay.
And during that season, I had happened to get a concussion pretty bad concussion.
Mhm.
So bad that I don't even remember playing the game. And my boss was like, "You're done playing tackle football.
Uh-huh.
You're done. DUNN, done playing tackle football."
Two ends, huh?
So of course, that's when I started playing flag football. That kind of curved the appetite. Still
Right.
gave me that competition that I was looking for. Then in 2002, got out of the military. Came back to the States. And I want to say it was actually, so when I came back to the States, I coached high school football. And I know we're talking about the cities that I lived in. So I lived in Germany, of course, Arizona. I went to Haiti. I was deployed to Haiti. I didn't live there, but I was deployed there. Yeah, Seattle, Denver, and now Dallas.
Wow. Okay. So you've hit parts of this country, huh?
Yes, and then I've traveled. I mean, I've been to a lot of states that I can't even remember.
Right.
Obviously, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, California, Nevada. Yeah,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Everywhere. All right. Well, look, I wanna get into to the man now. How in the hell did we become Sneaky G? Man, how did it happen? I know you're a Giants fan. I know you've been a Giants fan for life. It's a lifer thing. We've talked about it and everything like that. But the name Sneaky G, did you come up with it or did someone ordain you? Because nicknames are normally given to people, but sometimes we give them to ourselves. How did Sneaky G become?
Well, okay, now this is the $1 million question. In 2003, there was this big, Texas Hold'em culture shock, if you will. Okay, or Texas Hold'em boom that that happened, and I got him. I just started playing poker, Texas Hold'em, and okay, I'm all right at it. Not too bad, but not. And then, well, it was kind of funny because I'll never forget the hand. I won the hand, and somebody that I actually look up to, made a comment during the way how I played the hand.
Okay.
And I still remember the hand to this day. So those of you that are familiar with, that are not familiar with poker, Texas Hold'em, you have two cards. You have two whole cards, and you have the flop, which is like you burn a card and you have three cards on top. Then you have the river, you burn a card. What I mean burn, you put a card face down and then you flip another card. That's the turn. And then the fifth card, you burn and then you flip over the fifth card. That's called the river. And then those 5 cards.
Yeah, your mic is gone.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
So you have those 5 cards are community cards. Okay. And my whole card, I had a pair of 4s. Okay. And if you have 5 of the same suit, which if you have 5 spades, like if you have 2 spades in your hand and there's 3 on the board, the community cards, that means you have a flush. And I will never forget the flop this gentleman had. They call it a flush draw. I hope I'm not losing people.
No.
So meaning you have four cards of the same suit. You need that fifth one to get a flush. And I knew he was on a draw, and I had a pair of fours. So it was my turn to act. So I basically put all my chips in. I said, I'm all in.
Right.
And he called, and he flipped over. He had an ace and something. He was drawing a flush. And I was like, I knew you were on a draw. So I was willing to gamble. And I just said that. I'm like, I knew you had a flush. I'm willing to gamble. That's what I said. And then the guy that I looked up to, because I love the way he played poker. He was like, bro, no, I'm sorry. He went all in, and I called because I knew he was on a flush. And he was like, that was a sick call. And I ended up winning the hand. And he was like, bro, that was just crazy sneaky right there.
Uh-huh.
That stuck with me. Fast forward, wife gets me an Xbox, the old school green Xbox. And I had the Peyton Manning football game. And I had to come up with a name for my my game holder, my tag holder, right, for the Xbox. And I would always use G-Man for life.
Right.
I always use G-Man for life. And of course, somebody took it. And I didn't want to use G-Man for life 0049525. I didn't want to use that. I didn't like that.
Right.
So I just put Sneaky G-Man, and it clicked perfectly. So the fact that I played poker and I'm a diehard Giants fan, two of the best things that I love. That's how the name came together.
So that's how Sneaky G-Man came about. Playing poker. See, I never knew that. We talked about a lot of things, but I didn't know how the name came about. Okay. Of course, everybody always assume things,
Well, it's fitting right now, because you even said it too when we were at that sports con. Just take sports out of it, because it was a con. I'm still waiting for my money back. You had made a comment, and I'm not. Please don't think I'm trying to call you out. You're like, you make people do what you want them to do. And I'm like, no, I do. I mean, I didn't even realize it.
You just had that gift. You had that gift of communicating with somebody live that engages them. Okay. So once they're engaged with you in conversation, it's like a battle for them, because if they got any kind of competitiveness, they want to compete with you. But you have that, some people have that way, that quick-wittedness, you can come back on anything. You also have that. And you're not afraid to approach anybody. I mean, I've been with you, and I was like, man, this dude will approach anybody. He don't care.
Yeah, you were with us at the draft when Charlie Batch was sitting across the way from us.
We were in Vegas.
I'm like, is that Charlie Batch? And before anybody could answer, I'm already over there. I'm already like, are you Charlie Batch? And he was like, yes, I am. And I'm still waiting for him to come on my show too, by the way. Charlie, where you at?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the part, man. I do envy that. About being able to approach people and engage in conversation. When I see people I speak, we can have great conversations. People they gravitate to you, and it don't be on purpose. I mean, it's not on, like you trying to get people to gravitate to you. It's just, it's you. It's just what you do.
I do want to give a shout out to Tiki Barber. We had a conversation, and those that don't know, you can see the story on my Instagram. It's pinned on there. With him, his appreciation for me, and he even said it on his show. People don't like me, and they'll say they hate me without saying it in my face. And he said it to my face.
Right.
Now I didn't say TK. I don't recall me saying I hate you. I just said he wasn't my favorite Giant. I said, Tiki,
Mhm.
you're not my favorite Giant. I have a show. I'm very critical of you. And here's why. And I got into the A, B, and C, right? And the fact that, he heard what I had to say. And I'm not the type of person, hey Chris, your lights out. You might want to go, no. I'm like, hey, your lights out. If you got a light bulb, I give the problem and then I give the solution, right? And I've always been like that.
Right.
And Tiki really appreciated that. And for me, just kind of sitting back and seeing what I've accomplished so far. Um, if I would have known that all I had to do was have a Giants podcast to where I could see and talk and be around, the Giant greats of when I grew up, I'd have done this when I was 10 years old.
Right.
And I think it's awesome that now I do come up on some of these events, and I've had people say, "Oh, that's why they call you Sneaky," because they see me everywhere. But
Right.
obviously, just it's being lucky, and again being blessed.
Right. So this is I gotta get your answer to it because I'm gonna give you mine. Okay. The podcasting. Okay. My podcasting career, I got to give thanks to a couple people. Okay, I didn't get a chance to because of technical difficulties in the beginning of the show. But a lot of people know that I was on the Cowboy Huddle with G, the number one Cowboy fan, Hampton. Gary is actually my wife's cousin. Of course, I've known him as long as me and the wife has been married, and he knows that he knew that I was a Cowboy fan because I know a lot of people know on Facebook I started 60 seconds with the Cowboys before and after games. And he called me up one day and asked me to be on the podcast. And I had never ever been on a podcast in my life. I've seen a few. I wasn't a big YouTube fan, anything like that. But Garrett gave me an opportunity to actually get my voice out a different way. And podcasting, I think just about everybody has a podcast now, but podcasting helps fans get out and actually say things that they've always wanted to say and communicate with teams and players also.
It helps fans be fans.
Have fans be fans. So doing the podcasting and everything, I run across the Make It Count podcast with Sneaky G Man. And I'm not a Giants fan, but what I appreciated was on your show, it's not just Giants, it's not just Cowboys, it's not just Eagles, it's not just Chiefs. You let everybody come on your show, and if they have an opinion, you let them get their opinion out, and then you debate it. We've debated things on your show. How did you get started in the podcast game? What actually made you want to do it? Is it just because of what I said, being a fan? How did you come up with the Make It Count podcast?
Well, first off, it's kind of a culmination of Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. I got, during the COVID, everybody was locked in their homes. Couldn't really go anywhere, couldn't really do anything. And so I got heavily involved in the social media type deal. And I had Facebook for a while, I had Instagram for a while, just started off with TikTok. So the whole social media kind of initiated that. And I wanted to do a podcast for a while. And through social media, I met up with a gentleman, Clary OG, Cowboys fan. He's more, well, he'll claim that he's also a Wolverines fan. So I know you like him already. I like him already as well. Go Blue. Finally got that natty. And we started talking, and he wanted to bring on one of his cousins, Ish. So we started this, and I wanted to do a podcast for a while, but I didn't know what I was doing. No clue. I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know how to, put it together. I didn't know, what StreamYard. I didn't know any of that. So we actually started with our show, Truce. And the truce was, we'll put aside our differences of being Cowboy Giants fans, call it a truce, and we spelled it out. And I don't know who came up. I know I didn't come up with the idea, but it was the two RUCE, and I thought that was just phenomenal. But there's three guys. You make that make sense. I'm not gonna. Right. I'm kidding, of course. And I had a fun time doing that. And but as you're aware, you get started with something and you grow, as the show grows, you grow individually, you grow, how can I say individually, and then you grow also in the social media aspect of it too.
Right.
And it just felt right that, the show, it's actually on hold right now. We never said we're done doing Truce. It's just on hold. And because each of us wanted to do certain things. And yeah, as you know, with your podcast, with the Cowboy Huddle, that it's good to kind of branch out and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I shout out to those guys. I still love them. I don't really talk to Ish too much. Clary and I, we kind of hit up once in a while. And it's just no, there's no negative, no bad blood. It's just, it's just, how it happens, life, where you just don't talk to people, and nothing bad about that. But the Make It Count, the funny story about Make It Count was I came up with that motto when it was myself and two other guys. One gentleman, and this is when we were in Seattle. Being a black male in America, everything you do, you gotta make it count.
Right.
You gotta be strong. You gotta work harder. There's a lot of things that I think culturally we understand. Okay. Not to take anything away from anybody else's culture. I'm just talking about our culture. And I just remember one day, when we would get off the bus and we would walk towards our job. And there always came one point where we would, break off and do our thing, right? And it was like we were Power Rangers, but we kind of dabbed in the middle and be like, hey, make it count, make it meaning, make that day count. And for me, it was, make it count, not only make the day count, but make every interaction count, make every conversation count, impression, make every, time that you talk to your kids, make that moment count. Your wife, your spouse, your partner, your boss, your colleagues, make every interaction count. Make it mean, put that emphasis, or I'll say impression on someone. So when you go your separate ways from that encounter, that they'll remember you. Be memorable by making that moment count. So when I wanted to do my own show, it was just natural. Mm-hmm. Because every time I do the show, let's make it count. Let's make this show count. And now I think I'm on episode 200 and I think this week will be 241.
241.
Wow. And that's not even including like the OTs and all the, and I have so many, like I would put, 119 twice because I was in a hurry to put the room in, and I didn't even look at the, what number I was on, but I have fun doing it. And you're right. It's not just, it's not, I mean, it is a Giants podcast, but I mean, I want everybody to come on. I want it to be, and I'll say this, a safe space for people to give their hot takes.
Right.
A safe, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to, criticize you for your opinion and your hot takes. I'm not going to, no, you say what you got to say. And I want it to be respectful for everybody. I want everybody to come on. And, for me, when, WTF, I mean, he came on when he was a young kid, shout out WTF, young K, K-Son, he came on a bunch of times, Zone, X, McNugget, Ant, you, I want to talk about the young kids because it's a blessing, and I hope I don't leave anybody out. Brandon, Emac. There's just so many people that I can name that with the old OGs. Gabe. Oh my God, how can I forget about Gabe? Right, Danny. Oh my God, like all these names are. And the funny thing about Danny is I knew Danny before I even had TikTok,
right?
And it's a beautiful thing when how social media works. It brought us together.
Yeah.
And I've met so many people through this, this app. And it's I feel honored that people when they meet me, they say, "Oh my God, it's like I'm meeting a celebrity." And I'm like, I got to go to work tomorrow, but I wish I had that celebrity money,
Exactly.
But and just the joy that that I'm able, the joy that people, that they feel when they see me. That, I mean, to me, I'm like, that's worth more than money. And
right.
The Dallas Cowboy game that I went to, there's these three young ladies, and they were like, "Oh," I mean, they were like excited, and I'm looking behind me, like, who's behind,
Right.
And I can't believe I got to meet you, and they were giving me hugs, just a lot of love, and it's I mean, it's phenomenal. And if I were to give anybody advice, because I know a lot of people say, I want to do a podcast, what do I need to do? Da, da, da. Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't wait. I want to do a TikTok, but I don't, just post your material,
Exactly.
Just, it's your content. You don't have to worry about, if other people like it or not. Just do it.
Yeah, because that's the thing, man. A lot of people, it's a lot of critics, but a lot of the critics are people who won't do it, afraid to do it, but they got plenty of things to say about you doing it. And I had to get used to that though, Sneak, because I could make a TikTok and being factual about something or giving opinion about something. And I've been critical of Cowboy fans. I'm not that typical Cowboy fan. It's just I'm blinded by the blue. I'm not blinded. Okay. Right. If I see garbage, I and that's garbage. Okay. And one time I said to Cowboy fans that they were celebrating that somebody else had beat the Niners. And we had just got our ass handed by the Niners, right? And I said on a TikTok, why are you celebrating that somebody else beat them? Aren't you pissed that somebody else beat them and you didn't? And man, I got a backlash, Sneaky, like I had never been a Cowboy fan a day in my life.
Right.
And I was ticked. I was like, how can you not? All this crap. I mean, everything. I had a buddy of mine said, man, I don't think I ever seen you without cowboy gear on. You know, and then when somebody who don't know you online or on TikTok accuses you of not being a fan because you're critical of your team, I had to get used to that. So are you used to the criticism of things you may say on online on the podcast?
No, Chris, it's not so much, and it's funny you say that about Cowboy fans. As we talked about, I'm like a family guy, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean is, the Masonic emblem that means family. And to me, being a Giants fan, if you're a Giants fan, we family,
right?
And it's sad because, like you say, Cowboy fans are critical of other Cowboy fans, right? And you got what you got. I kind of experienced the same thing, and it's so unfortunate. I've been told that I'm trying to be bigger than the Giants. I've been told that I push myself on people more than others. I'm trying too hard. I'm told that I'm making this a competition. And of course, I get those. You're over 40 years old, but your life is depending on a football team. And I just say to anybody, first off, this is not a competition.
Right.
My content is my content. The only person I'm in competition with is myself.
Right.
Because I have to tell myself, okay, it's Tuesday. Don't get comfortable on the couch.
Yeah.
I have to tell myself, hey, this is a good idea. Do a TikTok on this. Don't procrastinate. Do it. And I think those individuals that believe that that I'm making this a competition, in reality, it's like they're making it a competition. Because clearly I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad thing is that I've had people, before any of this was said to me, I've had people come back to me and say, really good sources. I hate to use the word source, but I have people, right, that have come back to me and they say, hey, this person is saying A, B, and C. Be careful, be mindful, be whatever. And I don't even, the fact that I live in Texas and the fact that I interact, and I wish it was more. God, I wish I could win the lottery so it could be more, that I could go to MetLife even more. The fact that I go to MetLife on a minimal basis, it is what it is. I'm like, okay. I mean, my thought process of everything is it's temporary. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use you as an example. All right. Let's say you were the one that had said whatever, right? Although it's multiple people, I would still dap you up, see how you're doing, and then I keep it pushing.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if you can't say it to my face, it's not that important.
That's definitely true.
If you can't, and I'm going to say these people that I mentioned, they have my number. They have my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't pick up the phone and say what you want to say, I'm okay with having a conversation.
Right.
If I'm mad at you, I'm gonna call you.
Right.
I'm gonna call you. And we'll have the conversation. Now, if, and I'm not saying you per se, but if we were to conversate and we weren't able to come to agreement, okay, keep it pushing.
Yeah, yeah.
And but there's it is what it is about the whole thing about being about being a Giants fan and content. I'm going to tell you right now, I have gotten a lot of questions about, hey, I need you to watch this. Let me know what you think. And I go right to them. I say, hey, don't worry about what I think. It's your content.
Exactly.
And I've had people ask me, or no, hey, when you posted about, Giants have 8 world championships, you should have done this. And I'll just come back and say, hey, well, next time I ask, you please tell me. But until then, keep it pushing.
Yeah, you're really active with your followers on TikTok. It's some things that they say to you and everything. I love your responses a lot, because your responses are basically you're flipping it back on them, but you never ever actually address the question. And I think it's genius, because I think it's frustrate the negative people, so much, because they want you to engage and get into an argument. Okay.
Yeah.
They want you to get into it with them. and you really flip it. It's funny. And then you end it with the Go Giants, Al, and I think that kills them more than anything. And I was just like, sometimes you have to be aware of who you attack, because you may not be, up to the task of dueling with Sneaky G.
Well, look, so my knowledge of football, I'm a football junkie.
Mm-hmm.
I even get picked on here in the house. They'll talk about Bill Sims, 1986. 269 yards, 25 or 22 of 25, 2 touchdowns. And they'll be like, how the hell do you remember that?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. Then she'll be like, well, what's my birthday? Ooh. I know it's November. It's one of those like, matter of fact, my knowledge of football had got me a free haircut one time.
Wow.
It was a Cowboy fan. They had the nerve to say that the Dallas Cowboys scored the most points in the Super Bowl ever. I'm like, no, that's not it. No, really, they did. They scored more. No, man, it's the 49ers. And the funny thing was, the barber was like, hey, don't do it. I'm like, I bet your haircut. And he goes, all right. And he's like, you messed up. You messed up. It's the 49ers, by the way. I don't know if anybody is.
It's funny, man. When you say about a football junkie, I am too. I remember last season, and my wife, especially, if we're at home by ourselves, no grandkids or something. I remember last season, the XFL was on TV, and I was fussing at the TV. And my wife was like, why are you upset? I said, well, that's the reason why they're not in the NFL right now. And it was an offensive lineman that was actually had lazy feet. He was getting beat off the corner. His technique was terrible, right? His technique was terrible. And she said, how do you know this? I said, honey, some people are football fans just because of the garb. They love the colors.
Yeah.
Say true football fans live it. They know every bit about their team, players, and past experiences. I said, honey, I was a good athlete, but I wasn't an athlete that I knew that I was going to go to the next level. Okay. But when you see professionals being lazy it's reasons why they don't make teams and move forward and make the big money. And I broke down this whole play, Sneaky. I had the recorder and I kept rewinding it like we were watching film in college, right? I kept rewinding it and I was breaking it down. And she said, I understand now. She said, it's not a love, it's passion.
Yes. Yes.
It's a passion.
And I'm passionate about my Giants.
Right.
I got work clothes and I got Giant clothes. I mean, I don't even have, I need to get more of my own merch. Right. As the latest and greatest for Sneaky G Man merch. Shout out, Dress Comfy. Look, I mean, I went in the office today like this.
Right.
Like I said, I have two sets of clothes. I have work clothes and I have Giant stuff. If at the moment I come home from work, jump in the shower and I throw on my Giants gear.
Right.
Monday through Friday. Matter of fact, I'm sharing this on TikTok, and before we even got started, someone said on here, football season is over. Says who? Says who? Not me. Not my world.
Hey, I posted on X a couple of weeks ago. I was like, United Football League, where are you? I'm about to go crazy. I'm about to go crazy.
Does Denver have a team?
No, Denver doesn't. But hey, with me going back and forth to Texas, I can always get to the Renegade game. So
hey, you got to come March 30th. I'm gonna try and get to that game. That's the
Renegades game. Oh, the opening game.
Yeah, because that's when you have the USFL champ and the XFL champ.
That's right. They played this Birmingham. Yeah, Birmingham. Well, look, brother, my first guest on Conversation with Chris, man, you just don't understand, bro, how much I appreciate the conversation and everything like that, man. Do you have any final words or anything that you want the people to know about you, about your podcast, anything that you want to get out of there?
Well, only thing I want to tell everybody is everybody's invited. Tuesday, Thursday nights, 8:00, Dallas, Texas time. Please come on. Please, be passionate about your team. And you get the floor to do so. I love the conversation. And to be fair, if you're watching me for the first time, just Google me, Sneaky G Man. And if you got any questions, I hope to see you Tuesday night. Now, one of my biggest things that I want to say now is, yes, Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care what Broad said. Nobody listens to what Philadelphia Eagle fans have to say. It is.
I was not going to bring that up. I
was not a 500 quarterback. See. Let me get off my soapbox. I'm sorry. My show. My bad. Let me stop.
Let me stop. Hey, man. Once again, thank you, man. Everybody, hey, I want y'all to give it up for my bad, Sneaky G Man.
Can I say one more thing before we go?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, Giants.
There he is. Hey, Sneaky, hang on for me in the backstage for me real quick.
Okay.
All right, man. That's my first episode with Conversation with Chris, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Please subscribe to us. You can find me on TikTok, Dallas Cowboy Chris on TikTok. Also, Dallas Cowboy Chris in the Cowboy Up podcast on YouTube. We stream live on Tuesday nights at 8:00 Central, 7:00 Mountain Time. Join us. Also, join Sneaky G on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I believe 8:00 Central Time. The Make It Count podcast, man. Thank you once again for our pilot show, our first episode. And man, hey, y'all join us next Sunday at 2:00. I got another special guest for you. The Cowboy Up podcast and Conversation with Chris. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.